Hello students, the action of moving or being moved is called motion. In your previous years, you might have learned about the types of motion like linear motion, circular motion, periodic motion, etc. If an object is moving in a straight line, we can call it a linear motion. A car moving on a straight road is an example of linear motion. The movement of blades of a fan is an example of rotational motion or circular motion. Example of periodic motion is the movement of a pendulum which is continuously repeated. Some objects move very fast and some slowly. In our example, the motion of car and fan is very fast compared to that of a pendulum. Let's learn more about slow and fast movements. You can see different colored cars here and all of them are in linear motion. That is, they are all moving in a straight line and in the same direction. For objects that are moving in the same direction, it is easy for us to compare and say whether they are moving fast or slow. Here in this picture, we can say the red car is moving very fast and the yellow one is moving very slowly. The distance moved by an object in a given interval of time can help us to decide which one is faster or slower. Imagine these cars getting started from this line. In a given time of say 5 minutes, the red car has moved this much distance, but yellow car has moved less. In the given interval of time, red car has covered more distance than the yellow one, and hence we can say that the red car moves faster than yellow one. Imagine that you and your friend are in a race. You are on a bicycle and your friend is in a car. Both of you started at the same time. After 15 minutes, measure the distance covered by both of you. No doubt the car has covered more distance than the bicycle, and we can conclude that the car moves faster than the bicycle. We often say the faster vehicle is in relation to speed, right? Imagine two vehicles having to cover a distance of 50 kilometers. The red car covers 50 km in 1 hour and the yellow car covers 50 km in 2 hours. The red car takes less time to cover the same distance as the yellow car. It takes only 1 hour to cover the distance, but the yellow car takes 2 hours to cover the same distance. Thus, we can say that red car is moving at a greater speed. Based on our previous example, we can define speed. The speed of an object is the distance covered by the object in unit time. We said the red car covered 50 km in 1 hour. That means the speed of the red car is 50 km per hour. And the speed of the yellow car is 25 km per hour, as it takes 2 hours to cover 50 km. That means in 1 hour it covers only 25 km. Hence the speed is 25 km per hour. We usually consider the total distance covered by a vehicle in 1 hour. We do not consider whether the vehicle is moving at a constant speed throughout the journey. We are taking the average speed of the vehicle. Thus, speed is equal to total distance covered divided by total time taken. If we know the total distance covered by the vehicle and the time taken to cover that particular distance, we can find the speed at which the vehicle has travelled during that time. All of us know that we measure time by using clocks and watches. Some of you might have experienced that our grandparents could tell approximate time by just looking at the shadows. In the olden days, when the clock was not discovered, people measured time by looking at the events of nature that repeated after a definite interval of time. For example, sun rises and sets every day. The time between one sunrise and the next is called a day. A month is measured from one new moon to the next. A year is the time taken by the earth to revolve around the sun. Before the invention of clocks, people used sundials, water clocks, and sand clocks to measure time. A sundial tells the time of a day when there is sunlight by the apparent position of the sun in the sky. A sand clock, commonly known as hourglass, which uses sand falling from an upper container to a lower container to measure a predetermined amount of time. A clock or watch help us to measure the time within a day. The clock measures time by using the periodic motions of a pendulum. Let's learn about a simple pendulum. A simple pendulum has a small ball or piece of stone suspended from a rigid stand by a thread. This metallic ball of the pendulum is called bob. Here we can say a pendulum at rest. It is not moving. This resting position of the pendulum is called equilibrium position or mean position. When the bob is released after pulling it slightly to one side, it begins to move to and fro. This to and fro motion of the pendulum is called oscillatory motion. The to and fro motion of a pendulum is called oscillatory motion. The pendulum is said to have completed one oscillation when its bob, starting from its mean position, moves to A, then to B, and back to the mean position. This is one oscillation. The bob starts from the mean position to A, then to B, and come back to its mean position. This is one oscillation. A pendulum also completes one oscillation when it starts from the extreme position A and moves to the other extreme position B and then returns to A. This is also one oscillation. The time taken by the pendulum to complete one oscillation is called the time period. The time taken by a pendulum to complete one oscillation is called the time period. Nowadays, most clocks or watches have an electric circuit with one or more cells. These clocks are called quartz clocks. The time measured by quartz clocks is more accurate than others. We know that the basic unit of time is second and it is symbolized by S. Larger units of time are minutes and hours. We have already learned that speed is equal to distance divided by time. That means the unit of speed should be meter per second, or it can be expressed in kilometer per hour. All the units are written in their singular form. For example, we can say 50 kilometer per hour, not 50 kilometers per hour. Different units of time are used depending upon the need, like we express our age in years rather than in days or hours. The time taken by a child to reach school from his home is measured in hours or minutes rather than in years. Now we know how to measure time and distance. How to measure speed is something we need to learn. For that, you need to know the distance from your home. Imagine this is your home to a particular point, say for example a shop. You need to know this distance. Measure the time taken by you to reach the shop from your home. When you divide the distance by time, you will get speed. The speed of some objects can be calculated at kilometer per hour, but some others can be calculated only at centimeter per second. For example, rockets launching satellites into Earth's orbit attain a speed of 8 kilometer per second. Rockets attain a speed of 8 km per second. But if we were to measure the speed of a tortoise, it could move only at the speed of 8 centimeter per second. Once we know the speed and distance, we can find the time taken to cover the distance. Time is equal to distance divided by speed. Similarly, if we know the speed and time, we can find out the distance covered by that object. Distance is equal to speed into time. You might have noticed that a meter placed on the dashboard of a car that has kilometer per hour written at one corner. This kilometer per hour is written at one corner. This device is called speedometer. It records the speed of the car in 1 hour. There is another device called an odometer which is used to measure the distance travelled by a vehicle. That's it about the chapter Motion and Time. If you like this video, please share it with your friends. If you have any queries, put it in the comment box. Thank you.